Hey, Angie Bell here. So I was asked to put together this short video to talk to you a little bit about what might be going on and what we can do about it. See, what I know, and I think what each of us has come to realize over the last 6 months or so, is that crisis creates opportunity. And what I mean by that is problems introduce us to ourselves at a really deep level. And the problems that we've experienced in the last 6 months or so have been, fairly substantial given what we have enjoyed in this country over the last few years. And so each of us is being introduced to ourselves in a way that probably wouldn't have happened if we wouldn't have found ourselves in the situation that we're in. So the truth is that circumstances reveal who we are. They don't create who we are. And so each of us are finding ourselves, finding out more about ourselves. Sometimes we love what we're learning, and sometimes we're deeply disturbed by what we're learning. But I think it's important to remember that this is such a great opportunity for each of us to make a decision about how we want to respond to things moving forward. See, the truth is that each of us are programmed and conditioned to learn by having information poured into us from the outside. So think about our educational system. As children, we go to school, teachers pour information into us, we're expected to absorb that information and then regurgitate it back to our teacher in the way that they gave it to us to demonstrate that we've learned. And so you would think that if we just learned how to respond in stressful situations intellectually, that we would do that. The problem with that is that the behaviors, the patterns that we run in our lives are not coming from our conscious mind. They're coming from far deeper in our subconscious mind. And so our habituated ways of thinking, believing, and behaving are in most cases not learned. They're conditioned, and there's a difference. So the reality is that crisis can bump us out of our comfort zone into our creativity zone if we have the right mindset, if we have the right perspective on things. So the truth is that in times of uncertainty, we will do anything that we have to meet our need for certainty. See, certainty is our number one basic human need. And certainty is the need to know that we can be comfortable, that we can be safe, and that things will go sort of according to the way we've planned them or the way they have been going. And according to human needs psychology, there are 6 human needs, but certainty is number 1. And so we will act in ways that are incongruent with our beliefs, with our values, and with our dreams and our goals in order to meet our need for certainty. And guess what the number 1 way of meeting our need for certainty is? Now, it's the easiest way, it's the quickest way, and there's some really important physiological reasons for that. But the number 1 way to get to certainty fastest is anger. So what happens is anger creates more adrenaline and cortisol racing through the body. And when those 2 chemicals race through our body, we narrow our focus and self-doubt is eliminated. So think about this. If you were a cave woman or a caveman and you were being chased by a saber-toothed tiger, you would need to narrow your focus and you would need to eliminate self-doubt and lack of confidence because your body would need to move into action to either get you out of the path, to outrun, or to hide from the saber-toothed tiger. And so if you have self-doubt and your focus is diffused and you're sort of thinking about what's for lunch and, what are the kids up to, whatever, you wouldn't survive that attack. So anger, this sense of empowerment and self-righteousness and making the other person wrong that we seem to be in the middle of right now, really just comes from a deep-seated need to feel certain. And chemically, our body feels certain fastest when we're angry. So, are more people finding themselves angry these days? Absolutely. Why? Because they're trying to meet their need for certainty. Now, the problem with anger is it's simply not sustainable in the long run, and it's certainly not healthy. So here's a solution. What if you came up with a list of a menu, if you will, of ways that you find your need for certainty met? For some people, that's prayer or meditation. For some people, that's yoga or other forms of physical exercise. For some people, it's petting their dog or their cat or spending time with their children or their family or friends. For some people, it's learning something new. For some people, it's taking a long walk. It's going to vary. So what are the ways that you can meet your need for certainty in a healthy, empowering, and sustainable way? Then when you can recognize the triggers to anger, when you can recognize when you're feeling the most uncertain and you're being triggered to look for certainty, instead of going to anger, you could resort to one of these other ways, one of the other menu items that you have available to you. Think about this. How many people do you know go to cigarettes or alcohol or drugs as a way to meet their need for certainty? So they want to escape the uncertainty of the situation they find themselves in and go to the certainty of a drink, a drug, a cigarette, even food. And that gives that people that are addicted to those things, it gives them that feeling of comfort, of safety, of sameness, of security. And we know that those ways are not healthy, they're not empowering, and they're not sustainable in the long term. And yet people are addicted to these substances, food, alcohol, cigarettes, and drugs in record numbers. So if anger is your go-to when you're feeling uncertain, it's going to be time for you to take control. It's going to be time for you to recognize the triggers for uncertainty, which are triggering the anger in you, and then find a more empowering way to meet your need for certainty. So give it a try over the next few weeks. And as importantly, pay attention to the people around you. Pay attention to your family members, your friends, your staff, your team, your associates, and notice how often you see them angry about something. They may feel completely justified in their anger. You may respond in anger, and you may feel completely justified in anger. But can you stop for a moment and ask yourself, am I really angry, or am I just feeling uncertain? And the sooner and more often you can catch yourself, the sooner you can make a choice to do something different. So I hope this has been helpful. I hope you feel better. This is not about, self-condemnation, beating ourselves up for resorting to anger so quickly. It's just about understanding, because you see, choice is a function of awareness. And if we're not aware of these patterns of behavior, then we can't make a choice to do anything different. So here's to choice, here's to awareness, and here's to a better, happier, and less angry tomorrow. Have a great day.